Hello everyone. Welcome back to the new session of Biology. Chapter 15, Standard 11th, Excretion and Osmoregulation. Last time we studied about composition of urine. In that we studied about regulation of water reabsorption through ADH. ADH, that is anti-diuretic hormone. Then we studied about RAAS, that is renin angiotensin aldosterone system by JGA, that is juxtaglomerular apparatus. Today we'll start with role of other organs in excretion. Other organs which are involved in excretion are skin and lungs. Let us first see the details of skin. Skin of many organisms is thin and permeable. It helps in diffusion of waste products like ammonia. But human skin is thick and impermeable. It shows a presence of two types of glands. They are sweat glands and sebaceous glands. Let's see the details of sweat glands. These glands are distributed all over the skin. They are actually found in a large quantity, or you can say they are abundant in palm and facial regions. These sweat glands are simple, unbranched, coiled tubular glands which opens on the surface of skin through an opening called sweat pore. Sweat is mainly produced for thermoregulation, but it is also useful in excretion of substances like water, sodium chloride, lactic acid, and urea. Now, second gland is sebaceous gland. These glands are present at the neck of hair follicles. They secrete oily substance called sebum, and this sebum forms a lubricating layer on skin, making the skin softer. A function of this is to protect skin from infection and injury. Now, second organ of excretion is lungs. Lungs are actually respiratory organs, and they help in excretion also. They help in excretion of volatile substances like carbon dioxide and water vapor, which is produced during cellular respiration. They also excrete certain volatile substances present in spices and other foodstuffs. Now let's see the details of disorders and diseases related to kidney. Presence of excessive quantity of albumin in urine causes a disease called albuminuria or proteinuria. This actually indicates injury to endothelial capsular membrane, which occurs due to increased blood pressure, or you can say injury or irritation of kidney cells by certain substances like toxins or heavy metals. Then presence of excessive quantities of ketone bodies in urine may be caused due to diabetes mellitus, that is a kind of diabetes in which the level of sugar is increased. You can say starvation or too little carbohydrate in diets may cause this disease, or you can also call it as ketosis. Then presence of leukocytes in urine indicates possibility of infection of kidney or other urinary organs. Now let's see the disorder, that is kidney stones, or you can also call it as a renal calculi. We know that the second name for kidney is renal, so we can call kidney as a renal and stones as calculi. These kidney stones may be formed in any portion of urinary tract from kidney tubules to external opening. Depending on composition, they are classified into four different types. They are calcium stones, struvite stones, uric acid stones, and cystine stones. Talking about calcium stones, usually they are calcium oxalate stones, or you can say calcium phosphate stones. Then struvite stones are formed in response to bacterial infection caused by urea splitting bacteria. They grow very quickly and they become quite larger. And this kind of stone is most commonly found in females rather than in males. Then uric acid stones. People who don't drink enough water or consume high protein diet can suffer from this type of stones. Then coming towards cystine stone, it is a kind of genetic disorder that causes kidney to excrete too much of certain amino acid. Now, symptoms of this disease or symptoms for kidney stones. First symptom is that there will be intermittent pain below rib cage, in back and sideways. Then you can also find hazy brownish or reddish or pinkish color urine. There will be a frequent urge to pass urine, and there will be pain during micturition. Micturition is nothing but urination. Now, diagnosis. Diagnosis of this disease can be done through uric acid content of blood, by detecting the color of urine, by kidney x-ray, and by sonography of kidney. These are different diagnostic techniques or tests which are prescribed depending on the symptoms. The next disease is a uremia. Blood normally contains a 0.01 to 0.03% urea, but if it rises above 0.05%, then it is called uremia. That means urea is normally present in your urine, but the content of urea, if rises above 0.05%, then it causes a disease called uremia, and it is harmful and it may lead to kidney failure. The next disease is nephritis. Nephritis is nothing but it is inflammation of kidneys. It is actually characterized by proteinuria. I already told you about proteinuria. The amount of protein excess in urine causes proteinuria. Then it is caused due to increased permeability of glomerular capsular membrane. Now, what happens normally during filtration of urine, uh, proteins are not filtered. But if suppose a large amount of protein escapes from blood and enters into urine, that means you are suffering from nephritis. And this leads to change in blood colloidal osmotic pressure. It leads to movement of fluid from blood to interstitial spaces, and it is also reflected as edema. Then talking about next disease, that is a renal failure. You can say it is a decrease of glomerular filtration, or you can call it as cessation of glomerular filtration. It is classified into two different types. They are acute renal failure and chronic kidney diseases. Now, talking about acute renal failure, or in short, we call it as ARF. In this, normally what happens, your renal functioning, that is functioning of your kidney, becomes worst, and that occurs suddenly, and commonly it happens after severe bleeding, and there will be decrease in urine output. In medical term we can call it as oligouria. In this condition, in adults you will find the amount of urine becomes less than 400 ml per day, whereas in children it becomes less than 0.5 ml per kg per hour. In this condition you will find some other cases also are there. In those cases you will find there will be acute obstruction of both ureters. That means both ureters are blocked. It can be detected easily by creatinine test. If there is elevated serum creatinine level, that indicates that you are suffering from acute renal failure. Then second one is chronic kidney disease. Actually, it is a irreversible type of condition. That means once your kidney is in this condition, that is chronic condition, then it cannot be treated. The only option you have is transplantation. So you can say it is progressive and it is irreversible decline in glomerular filtration rate. It may be caused due to chronic glomerulonephritis, and it can be detected by reduced kidney size and possibility of anemia. Now next we'll study about dialysis. Here we have studied about different types of diseases. Now in order to prevent our kidney from diseases, we have to go through certain measures. First thing is dialysis. Dialysis, when renal function falls below 5 to 7%, or you can say there will be accumulation of harmful substances in blood. At that time, in such condition, you will find the person has to go for artificial means of filtration of blood, and this artificial means of filtration is nothing but dialysis. Dialysis can be of two different types. That is hemodialysis, one, and secondly you have got peritoneal dialysis. Talking about first hemodialysis, in hemodialysis, blood is filtered outside the body using dialysis unit. Now, in this procedure, the patient's blood is removed generally from radial artery. Radial artery is present in your wrist. So, from that part, a cut is made from the radial artery and a tube is inserted inside that. From that radial artery, the patient's blood is removed, and it is then passed through a cellophane tube that acts as semi-permeable membrane. Now the tube, which is cellophane tube, actually it is immersed in a fluid called dialysate. Dialysate is nothing but it is isoosmotic to normal blood plasma. That is, it is similar, liquid similar to that of blood. So what happens here, the excess of salt which is present, if suppose it is present in your blood plasma, then that passes through cellophane tube and enters into dialysate. And whatever waste products are there, as in dialysate waste products are absent, so they move from blood into dialyzing fluid. Now here the filtered blood is returned into vein. That means another cut has to be made for entry of blood into vein. So in this entire process, the patient will get two cuts in the wrist region. One will be for artery, other will be for vein. From artery the blood has to be removed, and from vein it has to be re-entered or returned. In this process, it is essential that anticoagulant means the one which does not allow blood to clot, that is called anticoagulant. So this anticoagulant is nothing but heparin. This heparin is added to the blood while it is passed through the tube, and before resending the blood into circulation, adequate amount of antiheparin is mixed, so that the blood has to move slowly through the tube, and hence the process is slow. Second condition for dialysis is peritoneal dialysis. In this method, you will find the dialysing fluid is introduced directly into the abdominal cavity or peritoneal cavity. The peritoneal membrane here acts as semi-permeable dialysing membrane. Whatever the toxic waste, or you can say extra solutes, whatever are present, they pass into the fluid, and this fluid is drained out after prescribed period of time. Peritoneal dialysis can be repeated as per the need of the patient. It can be carried out at home, at work, or while traveling, but it is not as efficient as hemodialysis because it is not such a slow process. And remember one thing, Dialysis is just a holding measure and not treatment. It can be done until there will be a kidney transplant, or sometimes it is used only as supportive measure for those in whom you will find transplant would be inappropriate, means those patients uh, in which transplant is not appropriate, not possible for such patient to live. It will act just as a supportive measure. But if suppose a patient is of such kind in which the kidney transplant can be done, so it can be considered as holding measure. It can be done only for that period of time till that patient receives a healthy kidney. So kidneys are associated with secretion of actually erythropoietin, a hormone, a renin, another hormone, and calcitriol. These are the three different hormones which are secreted by kidney. And it is not possible to get these hormones using dialysis machine. That's why dialysis is not a treatment. Remember, dialysis is not a treatment. Then what is the treatment for kidney disorder? The treatment is nothing but kidney transplant. It is an organ transplant of a healthy kidney into a patient with end-stage renal disease. You can say kidney transplant is classified as cadaveric donor, or you can say deceased. The one who is dead is considered as deceased donor, or living donor, the one who is alive and ready to give or donate kidney, that is considered as living donor. Kidney transplants are further classified as, talking about living donor, they can be classified as genetically related transplants or genetically non-related transplants. If I say genetically related transplant means living related, having blood relations, for example, your family members. Talking about genetically non-related transplant means living non-related. That means it includes your friends, your relatives, some unknown person who is ready to donate. These are all considered as genetically non-related transplants. So we have completed the entire chapter of excretion and osmoregulation today. What we studied today, let's have a quick summary. We studied today about the role of other organs in excretion. In that, we studied about skin and lungs. Then we studied disorders and diseases. In that, we studied about kidney stones, their symptoms, diagnosis, uremia, nephritis, and renal failure. Then we started dialysis, and we had studied two types of dialysis. One was hemodialysis, other was peritoneal dialysis. Then we studied about kidney transplant. I hope you understood the topic. Let's stop here. We'll continue with new topic in next video lecture. Till then, take care of yourselves. Thank you.